Merry early Christmas, everyone. I hope you're all having a fantastic holiday season so far. And hey, speaking of Christmas, there is no better gift for a loved one or yourself than video games. So whether you just picked yourself up a brand new Nintendo Switch in those awesome Black Friday deals, or maybe you're planning on buying that special someone a Switch for Christmas, you might be thinking to yourself, well, what games do I get? And oh boy, there is a lot to choose from. In this huge video, I'm going to be highlighting about 80 Nintendo Switch games. I've broken all these games down into categories, from the full price $60 games to the mid-range games and then to the cheapies. And then in each one of those three categories, I've broken them down into must-buys, maybe buys depending, and then definitely stay away froms. So my goal in this video is to help you out. Next time you go to a game store and you see all of these on the shelf, you'll have a better idea as to which game to buy. And then of course, which game to not buy. It's a very broad list spanning all kinds of games for all kinds of people. Whether you're buying for yourself or for your child or for anyone, there should be something on this list for you. And trust me, it's a great time to be buying games for the Switch. I made one of these buying guide videos last year and there was not this many games to choose from. Also, for the most part, that list I made last year, it still holds up for this holiday season too. So after this video, I recommend going and watching that one as well, as I'm not going to be going over those games again. And I would hate for any kid to open WWE under the Christmas tree this year. With all that being said, I want to thank everyone that joined me this year and supported my channel in 2018. It means the world to me and I can't wait for 2019. So subscribe if you want to join me on that adventure, but for now, let's get started with the top $60 Switch games. Just like last year, I need to make sure if there's a parent or grandmother or someone watching this video that just bought a Switch for a kid, you cannot have a Switch and not have at least one of these. It's an unofficial rule. Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild, they're both incredible games. It's fun for all ages, whether you're a child, whether you're an adult, everyone will enjoy these games. Just like with Mario and Zelda, the next game, in my opinion, is a must-buy. You should definitely have this if you have a Switch, and that is Smash Brothers. Now, as of recording this, and even when I initially released this, Smash Brothers has not released yet. It's out on December 7th. So if you're watching this after December 7th, you're good, go and pick it up for your Christmas gift. But this is another game that every Nintendo fan is going to want. It's fun for all ages again, and there's so many hours of gameplay in it. Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, they're Pokemon games, they might speak for themselves. It is fun for all ages, but if you're buying it for your 35-year-old boyfriend or husband, you might want to double check that he wants to play Pokemon, but it's quality and worth the price. Octopath Traveler is a beautiful RPG that has about 80 hours of gameplay in it. I would say it's more catered to an older audience just because of the style of game, not because it's mature or anything like that. A kid can definitely enjoy it, but either way, whoever you're buying it for, it's definitely worth the price. Starlink released recently. It's a really fun game, kind of like Skylanders, where you get toys that you can switch parts out for it, and then it changes what happens in the game. If you buy this big starter set, it comes with the game as well as a bunch of toys, so it will cost you more than a $60 game, but again, you do get a bunch of stuff with it. And then you can also buy extra ships and extra toys. These are about $15 to $20 each. You don't have to buy anything extra. You can play the entire game and have fun just with the base pack. In my opinion, picking up this kit and a few extra toys is worth the money and it's a lot of fun, but if you would rather, you can just buy the game online digitally. And if you do it that way, it's actually a lot cheaper because you get access to all of these toys without having to buy them. I know this is kind of complicated and it's hard to explain in a few seconds, so I have a whole video about this game on my channel, and you can find a link to that down below in the description. Obviously, with the sheer amount of games I'm covering today, I can't go into detail about all of them, but because I'm kind of insane, I've actually either reviewed or talked about almost every single game in this video throughout the year. So to the best of my abilities, I will leave links down below to every game I can find on my channel that I've talked about. So while watching this, if I breeze past a game you want to learn more about, make sure to check that description because it might be down there. Bayonetta 2, in my opinion, is absolutely worth the $60 price tag because it also includes the first game, so you're getting 2 games for the price of 1. There are a couple things you want to be careful of here. One, this game was also on Wii U, so if you're buying this for someone that had a Wii U, make sure they don't already have it on that console. And secondly, you might see this game really cheap pre-owned for around about $30 to $35, which is just half price. Great deal, right? But the reason why it's so cheap is because this first game it includes, it's a digital download, which means if you're buying the game pre-owned, the person that owned it before you probably already used that code. However, if all you want to play is the second game, then definitely go pre-owned. You may as well. Whichever way you slice it, Bayonetta is a really fun hack and slash game that I will always recommend playing. Before we get to the full price games you should definitely avoid, there are a ton more $60 price tag games that could really go either way depending on who you are or who you're buying for. Either way, every single game I'm about to list in this maybe pile, in my opinion, is a really fantastic game and it is worth that price tag. Again, depending. Super Mario Party. If you've ever played a Mario Party game before, you know what this game is all about. It's a lot of fun to play with friends or family. It's a Mario game with Nintendo characters. You really can't go too wrong. But if you're buying this for someone that doesn't have many games on their Switch yet, or maybe you're giving it to them with their Switch and it's the only expensive game you can afford, it's not really a game that's fun to play on your own. It's fun to play for an hour or two with friends or family, but if you don't have anything else to play after that, you're kind of just left staring at your Switch wishing you had something else to play. So definitely a good game, not a bad purchase, but not a good only purchase. You can't go wrong with some Donkey Kong. Once again, this game was on Wii U, so look out for that. But here's the thing, a lot of people will really want this game. Personally, I don't think this game should be 60 at this point. I think it should be closer to 40, but it is definitely a game that belongs with a Switch and is a lot of fun to play. Anything Nintendo Labo is gonna set you back $60 to $70. It's a really quality kit. It's a bunch of cardboard that you build into objects that then interacts with your Switch. It's really cool. If you have a kid with a very creative mind that loves building things, this could be perfect for them. And I bought it, and while I had a lot of fun making it initially, once it was done, I was left with all these cardboard things around my house. I didn't know where to put them, and then my house flooded and a lot of them got destroyed. Quality product, but it depends on who you're buying it for. Skyrim, Doom, Wolfenstein 2 are all really great games and a lot of fun to play on the Switch, but they're still sat at $60. There were a few good sales on Black Friday, but if you missed them, yeah, they're still at $60, and I think that's very expensive for those games at this point. But there are going to be a lot of Nintendo Switch gamers out there that still want to play Skyrim on the go. So again, with these games and any of the games in this bracket, they're all quality games, but make sure you have some of the must-haves before you start diving in here, unless you really want these or someone specifically wanted these. The same goes for Monster Hunter Generations, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Mario Tennis, Hyrule Warriors, Rocket League. Mario and Rabbids, I actually really love that game. I almost wanted to put this in the must-have, but it's kind of a niche game. It's a tactical turn-based game, and I've seen it really cheap recently. On Black Friday, it was $20. So looking at it for $60, yeah, I don't know if that's worth it at this point because it's been out for so long. But if you have already bought it, don't worry. It's a really fun game, and I loved it. Lego DC Villains is really fun. Lego games are great, whether you're a kid or not. Diablo 3 or Civilization 6, I wouldn't buy either of these for a kid. Well, maybe Diablo, but I wouldn't go that route for them. If you're buying for an older gamer, definitely. Civ 6 is a lot of fun. My Hero 1's Justice, I'm umming and ahhing on this one. I don't think it's worth 60. I think it's worth more around 40, but it is a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. Dragon Quest Builders, that's actually 50, and I really recommend this game. I think it's super addicting and again, fun for all ages. And then Ys 8, another game that has hours and hours and hours of gameplay in it and really fun to play on the go. In fact, Ys 8 isn't really even a depends for me. I wouldn't say it's a must buy, but it's definitely a good buy. And now, the really expensive Switch games that you probably shouldn't buy this year. I'm not saying some of these are downright terrible, just not worth 60 anymore, or ever. ARMS, I don't know why this game is still 60. At this point, it should be 30 or maybe 40. Classic Nintendo tax. The game isn't coming down in price just because Nintendo made it. In my personal opinion, no one's gonna want this year. Maybe I'm wrong, but hey. Kirby Star Allies. Again, it's not a bad game, but it's only about 5 hours long. I mean, I finished it in 5 hours. And when you look at the other games I talked about at 80 hours long, crazy amount of hours, if you're spending $60 to keep your kid or yourself entertained, I'd hate for my kid to open this Christmas morning and be finished by the afternoon. A game that just released today as I'm filming this, Ark. I don't want to ruin how bad this game is because I want to review it really soon. Just trust me, it's really bad and don't buy it. And Pokken Tournament. I don't think that game's worth 60 anymore either. I think that's worth closer to 30 to 40, especially with Smash Brothers. I know it's two very different fighters, but if you're buying one or the other this Christmas, you go Smash Brothers. I don't think anyone's gonna be playing Pokken Tournament after December 7th, in my opinion. And now we get to the mid-range games that are about $30 to $40. And if you're one of those on a budget, oh, it's your lucky day because this is a huge portion of the video. From brand new indie games that release at around $20 to $30 $30, or maybe some of those expensive games that released really early in the year and now they're on sale or dropping down in price. These are the games that you can stock up on and have a lot of fun with. Monster Boy, this one released really recently. I haven't even got to play it yet, but I have heard so many fantastic things. So maybe don't take my word for it, but if you see it and you think you might enjoy it or someone else might enjoy it, yeah, they probably will. Dark Souls on Switch, it plays really well. One of the best ports I have seen come to the Switch. Now, I haven't reviewed this one on my channel. In fact, this is the first time I'm talking about it in any kind of review context. But if you want to see me and my friends sit down and tackle this extremely hard game, you can watch us do that for hours on end on my second channel. There'll be links to everything down below. Games like Moonlighter and Dead Cells are really fantastic. These games are great for kids, but especially if you're buying it for someone that maybe used to be a retro gamer, maybe they love NES and SNES games, and they're looking to dive into a new but similar experience. These are great for that. Oh, and Owlboy. Throw this one into that category of retro-ish inspired games as well. Undertale is on the Switch. This game is beloved by so many people, and you might not know this is on the Switch because I never see it at GameStop. I've actually only ever seen the game at Best Buy. It's only $30, but it's definitely a great game. If you remember Katamari from PlayStation 2, it's getting re-released on Switch very soon. It'll be out in time for Christmas, and it looks gorgeous. Overcooked 2 is a really fun game. There's also Overcooked 1, but you may as well skip straight to the sequel because it's the better one anyway, and you don't need to have played the first one. Definitely a game you should play with friends or family, not one that you can sit down and really play on your own. I mean, you can, but it's not as fun. Attack on Titan 2 is surprisingly great. If you're a fan of the anime, I recommend trying this one out. Crash Bandicoot Collection, this one speaks for itself. Toad Treasure Tracker, this game is adorable. It's not exactly my cup of tea, but Kim, my fiance, had so much fun with it, and it's definitely a child-friendly game. Sonic Mania Plus, if you want to play a brand new old school Sonic game, definitely pick that one up. Little Dragon's Cafe, I've seen this one on sale recently for $27, $30. Definitely suited for a younger audience. It reminded me of something like Harvest Moon. Again, I reviewed this one on my channel, links below. If you're looking for a Zelda-like experience, both It'll Do 2 and Yonder are really quality games. Yonder is more like the 3D Zeldas like Breath of the Wild, and then It'll Do 2 is more like the 2D top-down Zeldas, but both are really great. And then Xenoblade 2 The Golden Country, again, I made a whole video about this game and you can go and check it out. It came out recently and it's a prequel to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I personally enjoyed this one a lot more, and it's cheaper than Xenoblade 2 and it's before it, so it leads into it. It's not as big of a game as Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but still, if you're looking for a cheaper, more affordable Xenoblade experience, I really like this one. Now let's talk about some mid-range maybes. Games I like, games I think are good, but games that might not suit your needs. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. The reason it's a maybe, even though I do like the game, is because Dragon Ball FighterZ, while it is a very different Dragon Ball game, that one is so much better, again in my opinion, but if you don't have any Dragon Ball in your life, lean towards that one first. The World Ends With You Final Remix, actually brand new. The World Ends With You. This game's actually $50 brand new, but I'm seeing it pre-owned for closer to $30 to $40. I didn't know where to put it, honestly. The reason why it's not for everyone, though, is the controls are, frankly, very frustrating and not good. It's really hard to play this game, but if you get the hang of it, it's a lot of fun. If you want to learn more about it, again, I did a whole video about it. Mid-range games you definitely should not buy. You are wasting your money if you buy these. We'll get the obvious ones out the way first. WWE 2K18 and 1-2 Switch. If you don't know why you shouldn't buy these, watch my video on WWE and just trust me on 1-2 Switch. Adventure Time. Now, I would take this with a pinch of salt. I would say don't buy this based on my experience, but I need to be honest, I still haven't played it since I first played it. If you watch my video on it, you'll know that it was a broken mess that I couldn't even get to play. It kept crashing on me and bugging out. But to be fair, it's been a while. Maybe they fixed it. I don't know yet. I need to give it another shot. Payday 2. It finally came down in price. This bad boy sat at 50 or 60 ever since it launched something like a year ago. It's finally down to 30 now, I saw on GameStop. But honestly, it's just, there's so many better things to buy at this point, and because it was expensive for so long, people didn't buy it. It's an online game, and because people don't have the game, there's almost no one to play online with. It's completely dead at this point. At least it was when I played it last. I just don't like this game. There's something about it doesn't click with me. Hello Neighbor. I know a lot of people do like this game. For me, it just didn't click, and I think it runs very poor and looks very poor on Switch. Ignore the fact I have two, but this is probably the worst game on the Switch in my opinion. Hello Kitty Cruisers. It's a racing game like Mario Kart. Please stay away from it. It's so boring. Fortnite. I bought it because I'm weird. I love Fortnite and I just wanted to have the physical in my collection. But just in case you don't know, Fortnite is free to play. You can download it on your Switch for free. This, which I spent something like $30 on, is sealed and it's empty. There is no game inside. If you see this on Switch, PlayStation 4, or Xbox, know that there is no game inside. All this has is in-game currency. You're buying in-game currency, essentially. And I feel like, and I mean, I'm not saying this was the reason they did it, but I feel like with a game this large that every mom and dad knows the name of at this point, if they're buying their kid a Switch and they see Fortnite and they know they don't have this in their house, they've never bought their kid Fortnite before, they might think to themselves, oh, Fortnite, oh, I've heard about that. All the kids love that. I'm gonna get little Jimmy Fortnite. Little does he or she know, little Jimmy can just download this on his Switch when he gets it for Christmas anyway. And then to wrap up the games not worth buying, Brawlout is not a bad game, but Smash Brothers. Buy Smash Brothers. Brawlout is the same thing, but not as good. I'm sorry. And Sushi Strikers. I felt really bad putting that one in the avoid. Maybe it should be in the maybe. But in my opinion, it's still a $20 game, not a $40 game. Oh no, I left Mega Man 11 off the list. I just saw it in my collection. Mega Man 11 was really fantastic, and especially if you're buying this for someone that's a fan of Mega Man, they're gonna want to play the new one. Speaking of Mega Man, now we get to the cheapy cheap section. These are probably as cheap a Switch games as you can find. I saw Victor Vran's only $17 right now. This is a really quality game. It's a lot like Diablo 3, so if you can't afford $60 for Diablo, maybe look into Victor Vran if you want a similar experience. It's really fleshed out, and the Switch version comes with all the DLC. End is Nigh, The Blob 2, Yoku's Island Express, Penny Punching Princess, Battle Chasers. All of those are games I've reviewed. You know the drill, links down below. I wanted to feature them all here because yes, they're all cheap, and I feel like these are games you'll see on the shelf and you might kind of be like, what is that? I've never seen that before. So now next time you go in, if you see them, you'll know they're worth it. I wouldn't say they're hot ticket items that you absolutely must buy on your Switch, but if you bought a few games already, you have 20 bucks left, you want to get one other game, these are all really great time wasters or just great games. I only have one maybe, and that's All-Star Fruit Racing. I saw it drop down to 20 bucks. I think that's an incredible price for the game. I said it recently in a video, but All-Star Fruit Racing is the best racing game I've played on the Switch that's Mario Kart style that isn't Mario Kart. So if you or whoever you're buying this for really loves racing kart games and they've played Mario Kart to death, they're done with it and they're looking for something new, 20 bucks is worth the gamble on All-Star Fruit Racing in my opinion. And the cheapest game not worth buying I saw was still Troll and I. Absolutely in the top 5 worst Switch games of all time. And the cheapest Switch game I could find that was somewhat quality has been Heroes. I have a mixed relationship with this game. I hated it when I first played it. I ended up liking it. Either way, I put in hours into the game. And I've seen it for as little as $5 both new and pre-owned. Honestly, if I had a kid and I was buying him a Switch and a stack of games, I would just throw this in for $5 just so he had another game for his stack. Oh, honestly, that was really exhausting. So many games. If you've been secretly wanting any of the games on this list today, make sure to share the video with whoever's buying your Christmas gifts. Maybe even timestamp it to the game you want as a little wink wink nudge nudge. In the meantime, if you liked this video and hopefully if you learned a little something, make sure you hair flip all over that subscribe button. Click or tap on this video right here because that's the gift you can give me this holiday season. I love you guys so much. I hope I helped. Happy gift giving.